thorough. He asked all the questions that needed to be asked. He made me feel comfortable. He read out the HIPAA and everything, so I was comfortable that it was not going to be shared.
I felt like it's a good time to open up and talk about my problem. Nobody asked me before. So I'll just try to explain as deep as I can so I can get help in future.
Yeah, very good point, right? So nobody asked me. Yes, we like to talk and nobody probably, especially with in the client's perspective, right? When you come with the problem compared to the doctor's compassion. Yeah, we give 1 hour of time. We say 90 minutes. Don't come with less than 90 minutes, we say. So.
Or 2 hours sometimes.
Sometimes 2 hours. If they really like the place, they don't go. Right? Any other, as a client perspective?
So I came in with a lot of pain and
You came with a
lot of pain and not much hope, but I'm going back with some hope of something good happening in the next 3 months at least.
Shobha?
Got confidence on this, so probably give the unique management to manage my stress and also taking decisions whether to work or not. I have in my mind that confusion, so it helped.
Did anybody, so now as a therapist, right? As a therapist conducting the interview, did you, I mean, obviously there was 30 minutes and may not be too much to talk, but you probably might have gone through the questionnaire only, right? Not too much of talk after that. Or some of you did get some more time to talk. Any concepts and anything like that? You did? Okay. Yeah, as a therapist, how was it?
I was sweating.
You were sweating. Better have a shower and go and sit there, right?
The difficult thing for me was
Not to say anything that is like a goof up.
Yeah.
So like to watch my words and things like, can you say something about your personality? So then that's the thing there. It says something about your personality, but then I had to think on the spot, like, how do I ask that nicely rather than just
Describe
say.
your personality. So it's
So
not
describe
very
your
open-ended,
describe your
but
personality is very vast, so I had to figure out how to
there are
say
some
that.
things here actually. So what we say is describe your personality. We say, are you? No, there are questions in there.
Actually, in the form, there is a category.
So
That's
not to
not
worry.
what it
Yeah.
says. Actually,
Dina.
oh God. Okay, we missed the. I think we need a projector, and we'll show it eventually. It has a list of things. It doesn't say describe the personality on the form. The unfortunate part is here we did not bring the entire list. The list is, we ask, how is your are you short-tempered? There is a whole list of checklist actually. Short-tempered, mild-tempered, mild, moderate or aggressive personality type, mild, moderate and aggressive. We always use an example like when there is a discussion in a group, do you like to express your opinion and be opinionated about it, forceful, in your opinion, or you withhold even though you have something to say, you simply are shy to say, and you are moderate, like you wait till you are not too aggressive, you are not too mild, so you will still want to give your opinion and you will wait for an opportunity, that kind of a person. Or a person like me who just jumps in and says, stops everybody, and that kind of a person. That's not, there's no good or bad here. Just letting you know that, and you have to educate your clients also, and don't feel shy in saying you're aggressive, because it's not that mild is good and aggressive is bad. There is a passive aggressive person who is like holding and who is suppressing the emotions. That's actually much worse than a person who is much more forceful, because things are coming out. Whereas a person who is mild is holding back so much more, and those are the severe ailment like asthma and eventually cancer. Those are all type C, very, very much suppressed people. So asthma actually, compared to, let's say, a heart condition, I would say asthma requires much deeper problems for you to go there, and that is why your sympathetic tone, you cannot even respond because you've suppressed your sympathetic tone so much. That is the idea. So yeah,
many
sorry
of
for
them
that.
are closed-ended. They are not open-ended. So
Figure
you
out
give
how
them a
to-
choice, right? Like choice of diet. So you say vegetarian, non-vegetarian, all of that. So in the same way, yes, you have to give some open-ended, like mainly those stressors, right? When you talk about the personal stressors, it's a very open-ended question. But it will help them if you give some closed-ended, like with options and all of that. It will help them to. They might have not done something like this elaborate before with anybody, right? So now it helps them to. Yeah. So as a therapist, so now you feel this is doable.
It's a lot of sense of responsibility on our head to do the right, do it in the right way. It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think you have to make the client feel comfortable enough to answer the questions.
So answer those questions.
Because some of the questions are really tough, and you have to make them feel like it's safe for them to share their, whatever.
Information, their
Yeah.
personal information, which maybe they have not got chance to talk to them. They are opening up and
Yeah.
creating that atmosphere.
And tell them that whatever you are going to do will only help you plan a proper yoga therapy session for them, right? So something if they don't tell, like this client, we entered everything in this health assessment session. After a week, she writes an email saying, "Oh, Savita, I forgot to say that I have this boils over here," and all of that, right? So many a times there are so many things, and we may not be able to get everything in the first session. And as they become comfortable, they start telling you, and you can always do an addendum of that. Okay, so very good. And last thing, Ashwini asked us to go over the HIPAA things, and somebody mentioned about HIPAA. We had time to discuss HIPAA and read, and Vinta, you said, I think.
He read it out, which I
Ah,
forgot to
that's
read
what
it
she
out to
mentioned.
him, but he read it out to me.
Yeah. So if as you do it more, then you will know what to say, right? So it's mostly the anonymous compilation of the data we do as a school. But again, if you're doing it as a yoga for Yoga Bharati, then as education and all of that. But what you can say is that it's not about what you can say. You have to be HIPAA compliant if you are dealing with any client, right? So it's not about just doing with Yoga Bharati, or if you're doing your own. Somebody asked that can I do these health consultations for my own clients out of Yoga Bharati? Yes, but know that HIPAA is a requirement in California. HIPAA means it's an act, some sort of HIPAA. It's an act which says that how to store a private health data. Yeah. So how to? So that's required already, and you then it makes it a bit comfortable for people to share, right? It's a privacy act actually, HIPP.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
So when we log the client's information, say on a software like a Clocktree, so I noticed that in Clocktree, every client of Yoga Bharati's information is there, accessible to all the teachers. So is it still HIPAA compliant or?
Well, we all sign our HIPAA compliant. So,
Okay.
I mean, we will soon send it to
BA.
you all. BA form, HIPAA compliance, BA form, Business Associate Agreement form.
Okay.
That you sign with Yoga Bharati,
Mhm.
right? You and all of us sign with Yoga Bharati.
So the way you sign, actually, see, everything cannot be software enforced. So the way you sign is that you say, I'm not going to see any of the data other than what concerns me. So that you have taken that oath also. So yes, many of these places, including even the medical institutions, we have studied even the medical institutions, and it's the same problem everywhere, that the entire pool of doctors will have access to all the patients, although they may not be their patient. So it's very difficult to for them to control that environment, because the patient also moves between the doctors sometimes. So I sub for you, you sub for me, all these attending and whatnot also, right? So I heard even, I was talking to my own daughter-in-law who is doing her internship, and even as an intern, she has access to everything, but they take a good enough care to, there is one thing, that is there is also audit logs. So she was saying there is such audit log, one of her, somebody sort of opened some other document of another patient, and they were able to see, oh, why are you taking a look at this particular? So they were not able to stop her. The software doesn't stop. But because there is audit log, if they happen to see, again, audit log is audit log sitting there. But unless some staff really is monitoring and sees some red flags here and there, and everything is not a red flag, right? So you may still overcome the sort of law, but what can you do? This, you can only do so much. So good point there.
Yeah, so once this whole thing is completed,
I didn't get the answer. What is the answer then?
for which one?
For the HIPAA, like, putting into the software, everybody accessing each other's thing.
It is okay.
I mean, it is okay, meaning it's allowed, but it's not okay. You have signed your BAA with us saying you will not open those records.
So just in case I need to learn about others or at your training, no, we can?
We will help you with that.
Okay.
I mean, that is a different story.
Yeah.
What we mean is, let's say as an intern you want to take a look and you take a permission, and we, based on how it goes, we have also taken the permission from our people that we will be using your data anonymously and things like that. So we will help you with that, seeing all the cases, but we won't let you legally, we won't let you see anybody and everybody's data. So if you said, oh, I'm an intern, I want to learn, so I sneaked into it and I looked at everything, then you are violating your own BA with us.
Yeah, we may, like how we did this, right? Like where we have removed everything. Don't download anything from a software like Clocktree, right? As and when you are given permission from there, unless you are working with that XYZ client and you have full access to that. But if you want to look at any other thing, then it has to go through the administration. And maybe we can download something like this and give it to you as any other, like a case study, without personally identifiable data. We can do that. Now we are going to pass around this yoga for diabetes.
Can I go over that health assessment for the form?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So in here, we have area-wise health assessment, because this generates an email. As soon as the health assessment is done, it generates an email with that kind of a Word document, the one that you used, and that will be filled already. And last asana evaluation part, we don't let the form do it, but we let you use the Word document that is generated. So this sends an email with a link for the Word document that's created on Google Drive. And that will be edit privilege for the area manager. Like say in Fremont, it's Bina, in South Bay, it's Savita. So they get the edit privilege. and they can then share it with you, things like that. So there is a process for that. It's just a little form and a plugin that we have used. So the plugins also that we have to use, the HIPAA says you have to go and get sign BA with those, third party. So that's also another thing. So it's pretty intense. HIPAA is not a use of a software. That's not what HIPAA means. It's not a software enforceable process. It's a process that you have to follow within the institution. So just to go over this, so this whole thing is a form here, and you enter it. I'm just going to open it edit-wise so that it's just easy for me to show you the whole thing. Otherwise, it will want me to fill up the whole form. Okay, so okay, this whole section, and then all this that already you can see in the form. Which part? Here. Appetite, eating habits, choice of diet. You see all these there are options for you to click, and there is other in some cases and whatnot, and beverages, meals, sleep pattern, normal, disturbed, very disturbed, things like that. And then habits, we have habits also taken into account. Alcohol, bowel movements, it says normal, constipated, frequent, irregular. So you will be reading those. So we won't say, yeah, how are your bowels? Then doesn't make sense. Bowel movements, what do you expect? It's very nice smelling stuff. Okay, personality. Here, this is the one. Short-tempered, mild-tempered, and then mild, aggressive, moderate. We have given some hint for the therapist, like say, click all that apply. For mild, aggressive, moderate, hint means a person conducting a discussion or a gathering. Are you forceful, outspoken? That's the one thing that always people get confused. So, and then are you sensitive? And then carefree, relaxed, sedentary, ambitious. We have one suggestion which somebody has to remind me. This ambitious and perfectionist. We combined it together. One person said, don't ask that question like that. I am perfectionist, but I'm not ambitious. Yeah. I'm like, okay, remember, Nikita? I told you to remind me to fix this, because it's not one form. Every form has to be fixed everywhere. Okay.
One more suggestion. If, like with coffee, if you could ask also, just mention it there. What time do you have that coffee at? Because this person is having coffee at only 2 coffees, but she also has insomnia. So if that person is having coffee at 6 o'clock, then that could be one of the reasons. So
correct. So form is only a basic framework. So you have to ask all these and write most of the stuff in detail into the assessment. When you enter here, you just write. Everything is an answer here. It's not really just a number. So you can say, has evening coffee. All these things you can explain here, okay? And then comes then what we have after that, we have each of the ailments. Sorry, I'll just take another 2 minutes, Savita, sorry about that. This one, workaholic type A and appeasing type C. You cannot just say, are you appeasing type C? They won't know what that means. So you have to really just say, you have to say, what kind of a person are you? Just to explain to you what is type C, we are trying to figure this out. That is, maybe you would like to be in the good books of people, and you may or may not like that person, or you may not like a situation, but you decide not to protest or not to move away from that situation because maybe you are hurting somebody. So is that the kind of person you are? So you have to sort of take each of these and explain and get the answers. And this is a non-judgmental environment, so don't worry about it. We are only trying to help you here. So repeatedly you have to bring that. Otherwise, them talking all this, believe it or not, if they have come on their own, unless pushed by spouse or parent or somebody, they will be quite open with you. That because they are seeking help. But sometimes they are brought by a family member, forced by the community, friend, whoever, and then they are not that open. They come quite as a skeptic. So then you have to sort of help them open up. And if you don't want to say something, this is another thing we say. If you do not want to answer any question, we are okay with that. So this is the next sentence that we have to make sure that we are not forcing them to give all the information, because they give in bits and pieces. Over a period of time, they'll talk about their history, so it's okay. And next, short-term and long-term goal of yoga practice. That will tell us what is their spiritual inclination. Let's say all they say is long-term goal, especially. If they say, hey, I just want to be healthy. Some people will come out and say, hey, I want to know what is yoga. I have deep passion in understanding this. So then you know that there is a different way you can talk. So in the next, after this health assessment, we usually give them the IYT talk, the integrated approach of yoga therapy. That's where you are understanding them here, and then when you talk about the integrated approach, you scale up or down based on who they are and what they are looking for, and if they are stuck on physical problems, then you just talk more, delve more into Annamaya Kosha level. If they are more, spiritual kind, then you talk a little more about the mind and the Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. They become so inspired. Wow, I go to many yoga places, I get just the physical thing. You are saying something much more. And that is true of not only Indians, please understand. So that other guy, right? We talked about it. He's has never done yoga, and he just a bicyclist basically, and he developed problems. But when we understood that he's interested in spirituality to some extent, we went a little more into all these koshas, and not saying koshas though, and complete, Western, scientific, more
like
scientific.
Story.
Hmm?
You told like a story.
Yeah, I told like a story. So there she is. She's totally listened to it and was like, wow, Ashwini, we can do this. Because he's not Indian. And he was very inspired. And his pain level went from 5 to 3 in just a matter of like 6 classes.
Four classes.
4 classes. That's it.
Question.
Yeah.
What kind of question you ask so that you get an idea the person is inclined towards their spirituality? Because I think in the form it doesn't really talk about.
No, short-term and long-term goal.
People say, I want to just come out
No,
of
if
the
you
pain.
just say, what is your long-term goal of yoga practice?
I want to come out of the pain, or
No,
I want to come out of
that's
meditation.
not how you ask.
No?
You have to say, here is these 2 questions. We are trying to find out what would you like to achieve in a short time, and if you are well, let's say in 3 months, 4 months, you're totally healed. Would you be interested in coming to yoga still? And if so, or have you considered this? And if so, why? Why does yoga interest you? If you were healthy, would it still interest you? That kind of, you have to drive their conversation.
Maintain my health.
The conversation also you pick up here and there. You pick up some of the things here and there. Like somebody said, I go to the temple, a lot. I read some of the books a lot. No, and then another way to ask is, how would your day look like?
Yeah.
Right? So then they say, no, I read, I'm reading some books like that. Okay, what kind of books? So it doesn't have to be very mechanical. Your assessments are not too mechanical, but not too deep also, where they are very uncomfortable to answer, right? So you pick up what you are looking for in order to plan a good yoga therapy based on what they say. Yes, you will pick up. People
What
give
are
you
your
some
passion?
tips.
What is your passion? What do you do over the weekend? That kind of conversation. You have to sort of get into all this. And these are the places where you get into all that. What is your typical day like? Are you working? How much time do you have for yourself? All these questions we ask in the process.
So I think in my point of view, we have to have some tips extra just for the therapist as well, because when you're going through the whole thing, you're so focused on trying to get the number and then getting all this idea from them. Some tips, maybe it comes with experience to know about it, how to know how spiritual the person is.
Yeah.
Once we do 5, 10, then you know where to get there. So
So
that we can talk about that
see, the
spirituality.
next question is, what is success in your life? That answer also tells you a lot. Some people will just say, I want to get rid of my ailment. That means they are still physical, that they just want to be healthy. Some people will say, oh, I want to achieve peace. Some people will say, I want to learn more about yoga. Sometimes people, like one person has come and he says, I like completing my task. That is the success. Like if I complete my task, I feel like, so you know that this person is like all into completing task, right? So
Type
then
A
you have to
types.
start there and then go
Yeah.
forward.
Normally success and failure comes in the terms of like in your task, your accomplishment. That's how people see normally success and failures. Not like, most of the people know about like, okay, I have to achieve the piece of.
They don't need to know. We don't need to bring that into them.
Huh.
Whatever they are thinking is fine.
Okay.
But you have to understand, you are not going to say, oh, you don't know that there is much more to yoga, right? But that's why you're talking like this. So let me tell you, that's not how you want to drive the conversation. You are only understanding where they are. Once you understand where they are, you can, eventually you are taking them to where you want them to go, to whatever extent they are interested in going. But at this point, you are not doing any of that. You're simply understanding the person. So these are the places where you can actually talk about what is your day like, what is your week like, what is your passion, what is the success, definition of success, what have you done, do you think you are successful, what all have you done, and what is your passion. That kind of stuff is giving here, right here. But initially, if you spend on those questions, then you will miss out a lot of other questions, and they like to talk. So the whole conversation will go wherever else, and by the time you come to your real assessment, time is up. You have to know that your time is very important, and their time is important too. So 1 hour is 1 hour, and not like 1.5 hours, because they also have some other things to do, and you have said come here for 1 hour. So an hour of assessment max, 45 minutes to 1 hour, and an hour of this whole not even hour, half an hour of this talk that you are going to give, the integrated approach of yoga for that particular disease. And then you are sending them with some motivational thing about pricing and all. They'll go to the front office, wherever, and if you are doing on your own, then you give the pricing and you explain why it charged this much and all that stuff. So there is a soft marketing part also involved in that.
I think it's a good idea to have on here, what does your typical day look like? No?
Yeah,
Or
we
some
can do
tips for the
that.
therapist
But it's
separately.
funny, right? How do you write that? You don't want to be writing all these things.
There are some
Everything
tips
cannot.
just for therapists, like, some
Cheat
ideas
sheet.
of
Yeah.
cheat sheet kind of
Yeah.
thing, like, that,
Okay.
just get these
Cheat
because,
sheet.
yes,
That
yes.
is a lot of information.
Some pointers for us to
Yeah.
just kind of, even you
Yeah.
forget just, it's tricky.
No, the
that
thing
you
is,
want to go there.
after this is over, right? It generates a Word document. Then you take that, you enter your notes there, and then you download that as PDF and you upload. So you cannot just type what is the day like, okay, and stuff like that, right? It will go into your head. And then that's why if the column is there, then you are busy writing there what is their day look like. No, you cannot. You have to now sit down and listen to them. At one point, you have to stop using these things, right? That's why parameters and all, they're okay understanding. How are your bowels and how is your sleep and all, you are clicking these buttons and all that, that's fine. But once you are in the listening mode, you have to start making mental notes there. So as soon as the client is gone, you sit down and do the writing. Everything cannot be jotted down deeply.
Because the person who comes, and they will get overwhelmed to write all this. Right?
Yeah.
So already a lot of
She's writing all that I'm saying. Should I say it? Becomes their question, right? They're talking about their personal problems, their spouse, or whatever they're talking about. And if you start writing, they don't like it.
I might not do it on the computer, I might handwrite it.
But even then, that also sometimes I don't. If they're telling their personal story, we shouldn't write.
Especially some spoken language.
Yeah.
Probably like you can create a picture in your mind, and after we are gone, then you
Yeah.
make a summary immediately so that you don't
Yeah.
forget that picture. That, it really doesn't matter whether she's reading this book or that book, but she's interested in reading books.
Yeah, there you can just say books. Some like really one word or something. But if you go on writing and typing and things like that, they'll say,
No.
I'm being recorded here in a different way.
Plus
that
flow of
was
the
it.
talk also get interrupted when you just ask
Yeah.
question, then that.
Are you
Then go
interested
the
in my
flow,
story,
the
or
flow,
you're
yeah,
in?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Good
It
point.
also gets like
Good
that.
point. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Continue.
We'll come back to the diabetes module, and past 3 years now, we have been well, from last many years we give yoga therapy for people with various different ailments, including the diabetes as well, right? So, and in the beginning, we discussed about the prevalence of diabetes, right? Especially the population that we deal with, we see a lot of prevalence in diabetes, and one another organization, Seva International, Vyasa itself has taken up this something called a Stop Diabetes movement, and they have a protocol, and based on that, camps are run, and yoga is given for pre-diabetes, diabetes, and all of that throughout India. And now here also in the US through another organization. And we, Yoga Bharati, we give them the yoga therapy classes, or through the camps, we process those camps and do health assessments, very similar to what you see, maybe slightly toned down from here, and only focus on that part where we are interested in, right? Of course, we do take an in-depth case study and all that. And what we have done is, there is a sheet that you all got with this can be like a master set of practices that we can give for somebody with diabetes. And as you can see, there is breathing techniques, loosening practices, Sukshma Vayam, there is asanas, there are cyclic meditation, pranayam, and there is, in the breathing practice itself, we have put in the kriyas as well, bandhas and all of that. So this is a table for 14 sessions. Something had to be removed here, I think, those September through October. That was our last session that we had. So we have 14, we give 14 sessions. So it's over 21 days, we give 14 sessions of yoga. And here, as you read through the health assessment that you got, the real-time one that you got, right? Most of them, in my view, all of them came with some comorbidities, right? So there is no one, okay, I just have diabetes. It wasn't like that. There was PCOS and diabetes, there was something else and diabetes. So this set is based on no comorbidities, right? So think that the person doesn't have comorbidities, and this is what it can do. What's that?
Severe comorbidity.
Yeah, severe comorbidity. Yeah, comorbidities means not severe, right? Primarily there is one ailment, and yeah, not severe, correct.
Can you explain again comorbidity? What is it?
Second ailment than the primary, right? So diabetes and back pain. So if the person has diabetes and back pain, which one would you address? Like say pain levels of 6 and 7, worst pains. Which one would you address first? Back pain, right? So yeah. So think that you have managed the back pain for them. You have helped them manage, and then this set becomes relevant for them. So that's the idea. And so now what you are going to do, now you have taken an assessment with the other person, you have the data. So individually you are going to design a yoga class or maybe first few sessions, or say these such kind of 14 sessions, or say 3-month plan, however creative you want to be. So we want you to design a yoga class and teach that yoga class to your other the partner, okay, based on this set. And we are only focusing on diabetes right now.
For the client that they have just done.
Yeah, for the client that you have taken an interview, you have taken an assessment based on this set. And make sure that your Some of these practices are sort of a must, right? So for diabetes management, go through the breathing practice. So Agnisar Kriya, it's very good because it helps to stimulate your pancreas and all of that, right? Marjalasana breathing helps you stretch the abdominal region and spine and all of that. And also lots of loosening practice, taking into account that your client doesn't have that 7 severity back pain and all of that, right? So Chaki Chalana, chapati making, Hunamanam, very good to the spinal twist, and also gives a nice massaging effect to your abdomen. Dhanurasana, loosening. And Sukshma Vyayama we typically give in for the people like say with severe other conditions or say seniors, right, at age appropriate. So you cannot do a whole lot of loosening practices with them. You can give them lots of Sukshma Vyayam, certain body practices.
Sorry. When you have 14 sessions, you start with Kapalbhati and not the other one?
Yeah, you can start with
Like
Kapalbhati.
Uddiyana Bandha, it starts on the second, third session.
Yeah, because
First
first,
session is only Kapalbhati?
yeah, this is actually a workshop style, right?
Yeah,
So where you are going slow and then you are slowly introducing everything. So somebody who hasn't done Kapalbhati also, then Uddiyana Bandha will be a little hard for them to feel those muscles. So let them practice Kapalbhati for a few sessions and then you can.
So my client has not given that they have, she has blood diabetes. Then what should I do?
Maybe it's a pre-diabetic case. So it's like you give a lot of everything for them, right?
She said she has high blood pressure. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I printed that. Maybe there is a pre-diabetic something over there, and that's why we or history or gestational or something like that. If if the person had a gestational diabetes and they are here for prevention, so maybe it was no, it was all of these cases are somewhere related to yeah, you can assume that way because a healthy client, right, only with prevention, so you can give everything, you can give a lot of these things, right? So in that way.
So should we prepare for 14 sessions?
No, you don't have to prepare 14 sessions. You can do one session also. You can do 3 to 4 sessions. You can do a 3-month plan. And again, be creative, however you want to do. You want to help the client. You want to help your client, right? Whoever came to you. So design, and we have 3 of us, and you can show the plan before you give, so that it's like kind of
Review the
we review your
Explain the
plan.
protocol.
Yes, review and then you can give it, otherwise becomes okay. Now what else do we have? Surya Namaskars also we have an array of different things, right? Like your client can go lots of Surya Namaskars classic, and somebody else's client can
But
do
high blood pressure.
neck and back. High blood pressure, okay, design the class accordingly. Okay. And high blood pressure controlled with medication or not, that's also important, right? Controlled with medication, you can definitely give them the Parvatasana and all that, where you're not making them hold. So if it's breathe out and then come in, that's fine. But uncontrolled blood pressure with the medication also is a problem. Then you don't want to give a whole lot of head below the heart, kind of. Okay, so asanas, before that the loosening, we also have Pavanmuktasana, Markatasana, lumbar stretches, asanas, Ardha Matsyendrasana or Vakrasana, depending on your client. So Vakrasana, if they cannot do the Ardha Matsyendrasana, or otherwise. Janu Shirshasana, Bhujangasana, Dhanurasana. And pick up a block, and this morning Kirtida has also brought a lot of blocks from the center. Thank you, because that was needed. We have some more inside also, so pick up some blocks, 2 blocks, one orange color and one purple. One of this and then one of that. and we will go over those practices. So not to worry. Keep it with them and keep it with you, and it really helps. I mean, we ourselves practice, and how beautifully it opens up the hip region, the abdominal region, improving the blood circulation in this area. Otherwise, it's hard, especially for these people. Imagine the participants, right? Not just us. So it stretches quite a bit of those regions that we would like them to for people with diabetes through these asanas. There is Viparita Karni, Setubandhasana with legs stretched, only 3 of them. Then DRT, cyclic meditation, pranayama. No need to give the last relaxation part. We all will do it together. Maybe the blocks and the relaxation will do it together in the end. Just give the techniques to your design a session, give it to the other person, highlighting those very important, not like everything, right? Hands in and out breathing, no need, but some of those what you can give. And then towards the end, we'll do the blocks and relaxation. We will give it to all. I'm going to be conducting that session in the end. Okay? Any questions? Yeah.
So we're actually going to do the asanas.
Yes.
When
Yeah. Design a
the
class.
partner is leading.
Yes. Yeah.
We just add our food. Just
Yeah, we just have that. We could give a presentation.
Lightly.
How
but
much
that-
time?
We could give a presentation.
No, that we can do it towards the end, no? As soon as you are ready with the.
How much
No,
time?
but they are
can
saying we have a couple of presentations, maybe because they just
No, we can
wait.
finish the presentation and then do the class. That way.
Okay, design a class.
Design a class for sure.
Design
After
a
that,
class.
you digest your food and then we'll.
My question is, it's already designed here for us. What are we doing?
No. For your own clients, with whatever comorbidities, what is their priority, what do they like, that is pick from there.
Okay.
But you are designing the first class, and then how the progression happens. That is just Savita's own preference and Savita's own observation of the diabetes camp that she observed.
We agree with her.
Yeah.
You're not the same, that's a camp.
No. By the way,
Camp is different from individual therapy.
yeah, these are not the individual therapy thing, and this is a master list. Imagine doing all of this in one day with them. It will take 3 hours, 4 hours. So design. Okay, let's do it this way. Design first class. Don't worry about the 14 sessions and all that, because this is too much. And no need to worry about the 3 months also. First session, what are you going to give? That's what we will design. Otherwise, it's difficult to.
You are looking mad at us.
No. She's right. That is the camp and the workshop for your own client who you just conducted the evaluation is very different. Nikita agrees. Even after both of us sat down for this patient and did the evaluation and after evaluation we both sat down and prepared a list. But when we started teaching, we realized certain things didn't still work and certain things only worked, and then we had to go back and change again. We gave a home practice, which again she modified. So it's constant feedback and modification based on how they respond also. Not necessarily that they the pain condition. Not necessarily just about pain condition, but some practices they glow. Some practices they sort of ignore. Some people like chanting based practices. Some people like a different breath body. Some people do better on faster practices. Some are very pushy in their, the way they push themselves. Then you want to give them a little more sukshma vyayam. So not because they are physically weak or anything, but because they are so pushy, they are likely to hurt themselves. So a lot of such dynamics, of course, you won't be able to do that kind of evaluation among our teachers here because they are not patients. But you have your own view of how your client is based on what they have answered. Visualize that client and come up with the practices.
And actually, as a participant, if somebody is giving you a practice, become that participant, right? With that, because like one client, I remember it took like 3 sessions to just simply teach breathing. You know, how to synchronize the breath and ujjayi. And everything was a pay, everything was an effort for this person. So after 3-4 classes, he this client knew how to breathe. Okay, breathe, and then there is Marjalasana going on. So much of effort is happening. So become that kind of a client.
No, and then anyway, 1 hour goes so fast. First time if you're teaching like pelvic tilt, we did, right? Teaching that pelvic tilt is not a joke in the sense.
Takes
That
time.
person to understand how to do it, it takes time. And that way 1 hour practice means you're not gonna do all these many things.
Yeah. This is a master list, by the way, for the diabetes. Okay.
How much time do you have to finish?
Okay, time last 45 minutes. 20 minutes. Design. 15 to 20 minutes.
You have a design for me. Then she will help. She has a signature card. So what she wants, you both have that.
And no need to discuss with your client the design, right? Because the other person is the client.
You both are already the peer experts, so you can help others also, right? Do the peer activity. And come up with a protocol with the explanation of why you chose what you chose. And that's what they share. Why they are giving the classes. Right, I know, you did that. Help them. Do the same. Age appropriate. If they are seniors, that matters. A lot of those things. And if you're done with one, take other cases, lead, and come up with a protocol for that.
This client has diabetes, some data. So, forward bends are out. But how about you, like, on the chair?
Or you can just because forward bends are out, then you can do the Bhagatasana, rocking, rolling, lot of things. All you have to do is compress the abdomen and stretch. See, the stretches. Bhagatasana, hug the knees. That is like for back as well as diabetes. Okay. client can also do the therapy protocol. Clients, if you are done with the time, take 3 seconds.
So excessive bending, side bending, moving forward bending, and then back. Yes, maybe I can save it on the asana part. Is it okay Why do you want to revise that?
Who wants to talk can come.
I got the sign of dialysis against